We're going to talk Michael Hawkins because, listen, my man dealt in a difficult environment in his first collegiate start. Let's discuss coming up next on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So the story of the day was Michael Hawkins makes his first collegiate start on the road. The first time a true freshman quarterback had made their first collegiate start on the road since Troy Aikman.
Yep, Aikman was the last one.
So basically 40 years ago. I was 3, or 2 going on 3. Long time ago. But man, I cannot say enough about the way the man handles the environments that he's put in, the situations that he's put in. He is mentally built for this. And that is above everything else that he did on Saturday, regardless of what the outcome was going to be. That was going to be my biggest takeaway, is the kid was not rattled in the least by a road start, by an SEC environment, by an SEC defense, which has some dudes that are really good on that defensive line. Some linebackers that are really, really good, unfazed by any of it.
Yeah, he looked comfortable, right? And the best part too, buddy of mine, my guy Jason at Hall of Fame, pointed this out. He's like, he didn't put the ball in harm's way.
Nope.
Right? He did not look like he was panicking. Now, there's critique there that I can give in some of the decisions that were made out there, but for the most part, he was sacked twice. Right? He did a good job of getting at least to the line of scrimmage instead of taking a sack. Mm-hmm. And overall, he played a very, very good game. Now, granted, there was a lot of meat left on the bone. Sure. And I'd say that's a good thing, right? We don't feel like we're capped. We don't feel like we're at the ceiling of what Michael Hawkins to do. We just feel like we're just scratching the surface. And I love that for him. And like I said in the first segment, we're seeing progression forward, right? The wide receivers look like they're a lot more comfortable, so they're starting to run some better routes, right? They're creating the space. That Bauer sharp catch for 40-something yards that got called back because, unfortunately, Jake Taylor did not actually do the curl. Jake Roberts didn't do the actual curl route that we needed, right? He ran right into the dude and hit the ground. Jake, whenever it comes to a pick route, and this is for any wide receiver out there, you know where they're going to be at. Run your route like you would, and then run like a hitch and turn. Put your booty out. And just you can do some theatrics with it if you need to, but you can't run right into dude.
Yeah, you can't grab him.
Won't call it. Right.
You can't throw your arm out there and try and grab him. Like, you were late, just give it up. Like, if you're not going to make it there, just don't even try.
Right. Your goal is to get in the way.
Right.
If you're running your route similar, or make your defender get in the way, right? Just hit them, make them bump into each other. Yeah. But overall, we started to see some tight end action. We saw Jake Roberts as well as Bauer get out there and make some things. Overall, Michael Hawkins feels like he's making everyone comfortable around him, John. And that's the one thing I think I'm most excited about. Also, 0 turnovers. 0 turnovers, and from what I can tell, 0 turnover-worthy plays. Yes.
It wasn't that. I mean, there might have been one sack where it's like, okay, he getting hit from behind, and you kind of got a little bit nervous on that one. But other than that, like, the dude was protecting the football. And I think what you mentioned about he left some meat on the bone is a really accurate statement to make, because there were times that, listen, give it another second or so, and maybe that guy's coming open, or throw it a little bit with a little bit better anticipation. Maybe you're going to hit a guy. But I'm not going to sit here and nitpick the dude's first start on the road against Auburn in a win. I'm not going to do it. If you want to, that's fine. You're welcome to do that in the comment sections on YouTube. You can hit us up at Locked On Sooners. Ultimately, what it comes down to is you got a guy that won the football game.
Yes.
You got a guy that had the big 48-yard run to start the game on Oklahoma's first drive. There were at least 3 guys that had really, really good angles to shut him down and shut down that run for maybe a 10 or 20 or 30-yard gain. He blew right by him.
He did.
The speed was ridiculous. It was like God found a track star and gave him a quarterback arm.
Yep.
Because then later in the game, we see the 60-yard bomb.
Yeah.
Right?
And
It was awesome.
That pass was at least 50 yards in the air, at least.
Minimum.
At minimum. There could have been more.
Yeah.
And in the passing concepts, I was looking at PFF, and he was like 82% on play action, right? 17. He's doing pretty well when it comes to that concept, right? And, I mean, his passing chart probably in that game, you'll probably see he's actually throwing the ball at multiple levels. Like I said, if there's anything I can nitpick on, probably one of those sacks was unnecessary. He could have dumped it off to like Javonte Barnes. Sometimes it's okay to take the check down. We've talked about that. That's the one thing I would like most quarterbacks like that to understand. Dude, they're giving you the space. And it's more so I recognize that Auburn was probably like, he's not going to check it down. So we're not even going to try to race after that running back. Or if we race at the running back, we're going to go out as a massive group and swarm him and immediately hit him after he gets about 3 or 4 yards. But overall, though, no. Hawkins, he's 82% on play action this season. Ridiculously good. Yeah, I'm very satisfied with that.
That's pretty good. You know, under pressure, he was under pressure on 40% of his dropbacks, 8 out of 20 of his dropbacks. He was 2 of 4 for 36 yards. That's a really solid rate when you're under pressure. Again, according to Pro Football Focus, against the blitz, Auburn blitzed him 9 of his 20 dropbacks. He was 5 of 7 for 78 yards. Those are the moments where you want to see your quarterback be relatively efficient, and he was. If you're 50% under pressure, that's a pretty good rate. If you're 78% against the blitz, that's really good. So really, really positive signs from your true freshman quarterback on the road. Again, I mean, you look at the Auburn stat lines, and you got dudes that have 3, 4, 5 sacks coming into this game. Have been really, really good. And Oklahoma's offensive line helped. Having a little bit more health helped. But the guy was really good at avoiding pressure, keeping his eyes downfield, and did he run a little bit too quickly? I like the idea that your true freshman quarterback felt comfortable enough. Like, I'm looking downfield, I don't see it. Let's go. Why sit and wait? If I'm not seeing it, let's move quick. Yep. And that's the thing that you like about what Michael Hawkins is doing is he's processing quick. He's making quick decisions. Listen, he'll go back to the film room with Seth Luttrell, with Joe John Finley, with Kevin Johns, and they'll look through all of that, and he'll continue to improve. But the most important thing is he's making quick decisions. He's not holding on to the ball too long. He's trying to let some things develop, and if it's not there, he's not feeling comfortable, he's trying to make something happen with his incredible athleticism and speed.
Right. He's forcing the linebackers up because they have enforcing a spy on them, which leaves somebody else open, right? Or at least some space for somebody. I did notice that we did start to run a few like deep curls and a little bit of outs that probably could have been hit. And the good thing is, just as you mentioned, he'll go with the coaching staff, the offensive coordinators, the quarterback coach. They'll sit there and talk through it and be like, all right, now that you're really getting everything going, this is where your wide receivers are helping you. You got a Brennan Thompson that's at a 9-yard curl, and he's open. He's got space. Go ahead, and as soon as you see that the defender thinks he's going deep and he starts chopping his feet, launch it at him. As soon as he turns, the ball should be right there in his chest. That's something that's going to take time and comfort because, something you really have to practice as far as timing goes. But I think we're going to start seeing more of those. You're going to start seeing those short out routes because now defenses have to respect the fact that he has no problem with throwing the ball 50 yards in the air.
Yeah, exactly that. And the timing and the anticipation throws, that's all going to come. You get 2 weeks now. You get 2 weeks of full first team reps where you're the guy to get you ready for the Texas game. And this bye week is going to do wonders for him, for the offense, for the health of the entire team. The defense, man, stood on its head. That's a hockey term about goalies, but they played really, really well. The yardage might not say it, but they played really, really well. We're going to talk about them coming up next on Locked On Sooners.